Okay. Hey, what's up, guys?
Hi.
So, I'm not Shane. Shane's not here tonight. So, where is Shane? That's a good question. He had a funeral going on.
Hi, not Shane.
Not his funeral. He was doing a funeral, so he's not here today. So, guys, I have a question for you. You'll have a little bit of time to talk about this in a small group, but have you ever had a bad idea? Have you ever known someone who has a bad idea?
Oh, these guys.
Okay, so, guys, this is a story. I was a junior sponsor. So, Grace, I was about your age.
What?
Hi, junior. I was a junior sponsor back then. Not at this church. So, don't try to guess the people that are in this story because you don't know them. So, I was at a summer camp. We were down in southeast Oklahoma, which we've been down there. It's kind of swampy. So there's a lot of questionable lakes and stuff. But we go down, we have a summer camp down there. And I was walking from the main section of the camp to the guys' room. And along the way, there was a little bit of like a large pond, I'll say. And I see some guys fishing. Does anyone like fishing in here? Me. Yeah. So fishing's fun. I love fishing. And I saw them, I was like, I got stuff to do. I would love to fish with them. And then I walked up and I heard a little bit of the conversation. I hear one of them say, I don't want to lose that. That is my favorite lure. So I was like, oh no. Okay. That bites. I get it. I like lures. So I walk up and I'm like, I might be able to help him get it unstuck. Because I think he's got stuck on like a branch or something down below the water. Unfortunately, no. As I'm walking up, I hear these words. It's okay. Stick your hand in its mouth and pull its mouth open. I'm just like, wait, what? I walk up and he's got his lure not stuck on a branch or anything, but in the mouth of a turtle. An alligator snapping turtle. If you've seen those, they are big.
They are scary.
They are scary. They will take off your hand. So the guy says, talking to another one of the teens, he's in middle school, he's like, stick your hand in its mouth, pull its mouth open, and I'll go ahead and get the lure out. I walked up, and I was like, no, get back, cut the line, be done with it. Guys, the lure was $1 at Walmart, and he was going to lose his hand. Maybe two kids were going to lose their hands to this thing. So that's a bad idea. If you find an alligator snapping turtle, do not, I repeat, if you guys get one thing out of tonight, keep your hand away from its mouth. Keep yourself away from it. Okay? So, Elijah, the guy we've been talking about. So Elijah, beast mode. I love Elijah, and he's done a lot of stuff up to this point that we've been talking about these past 2 weeks. Now, Elijah does something, and he has an idea. And his best friend thinks the idea is stupid. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pick up in a little bit of his story. And you guys might remember there's a drought going on in the land. Because King Ahab, what do we know about King Ahab? He was a bad guy.
Yeah.
He was worse than any other king before him. He was a wicked dude, not good. Not a nice guy, I'll say. What deity, if we remember, what did he worship? His wife, his people.
A cow.
A cow? No, Baal.
Oh.
The, sacrificing children on Baal. So, this is a not good dude at all. So we're going to pick up in the story at verse 1 of 1 Kings 18. It says, after a long time, in the 3rd year, the word of the Lord came to Elijah, go present yourself to Ahab, and I will send rain on the land. So Elijah went to present himself to Ahab. Now, this drought has been going on for 3 years. Have you guys seen what happens whenever we get into the summer months and there's a drought for a month? Everything starts dying? So imagine 3 years of drought. So King Ahab, everything's dead. Like it's straight dead. So King Ahab, he gets his right-hand guy together, his like palace authority guy, and he's like Obadiah, the guy named Obadiah, who happens to be best friends with Elijah. So he gets Obadiah into the palace there with him. He says, King asks, Obadiah, here's what we're going to do. All our people are dying. Our animals are dying. We need to find grass. That's how bad this has gone. They just want to find grass. Just to feed the animals. So he says, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to go this way. You're going to go that way. And we're going to look for grass. Over this entire kingdom of his, we're going to look for grass. That's how desperate Ahab's gone. What?
Is it just like that general area, or is it the
Entire kingdom.
like they're going to have to go to different places to find grass, right?
We don't know. He just says that we're going to try to find grass. Check the oasis, check the valleys, check anywhere you can. We got to find grass. So King Ahab goes one way. Obadiah goes the other way. And Elijah, he goes and he finds, the first person he finds is Obadiah. And he makes a request of Obadiah, and Obadiah looks at him and says, that's about as smart as putting your hand next to a turtle. That's not what he says, but that's basically what he says. Let's go ahead and read. What is Obadiah? So Obadiah was walking along, Elijah met him. Obadiah recognized him, bowed down to the ground, and said, is it really you, my lord Elijah? Yes, he replied, go tell your master Elijah is here. What have I done wrong? Asked Obadiah, that you are handing your servant over to Ahab to be put to death. So, all Elijah asked, like, just go tell King Ahab that I'm here. I want to meet with him. So, a little bit of backstory here. After the drought started, and Elijah was like put at fault for it, as Elijah spoke the word of the Lord saying, there's going to be a drought until I say so. So, Elijah, enemy number one, the wicked king wants him dead, and he hunts all over the kingdom for him, trying to go wherever he can, all these other kingdoms, trying to hunt down this one dude. Can't find him. So, the dude comes, and it's like, hey, just go tell King Ahab I'm here and I'm waiting for him. And this dude over there, he's like, if I do that, I'm going to die. Because I'm going to tell him you're here. And whenever he gets back here to find you, you're not going to be here, and I'm going to be dead. Off with his head. So, at this point, you can imagine that Elijah, he's going beast mode in his faith. Because what's going to stop King Ahab from just killing him? God. He is trusting God in that King Ahab is not going to see him, automatically see him and be like, someone kill him. First person to kill him gets like 200 gold. Like, no. He is trusting God and saying that, okay, God told me to go do this, I'm going to do this. Elijah has faith. But why did God tell him to go see him? Why did God tell Elijah? Well, I'll tell you why, because God had a plan. Did Elijah know this plan? We don't know. I like to imagine, no, he didn't know the plan. God just told him, go do this. Then I'll tell you what to do when you get there. So, he comes face to face with the king. Obadiah finally goes, he tells the king, and King Ahab, the wicked king, comes and finds Elijah. And they meet face to face. And Elijah has some words for King Ahab. He basically tells him that this is all your fault. Remember that. The whole drought. Elijah said that there's going to be a drought until I say so, but it's the king's fault. Because the king was so evil, Elijah, with God's power, started the drought. Now, Elijah shows up And Elijah, the one thing he wants is to make the nation of Israel, the Hebrew people, turn back, away from their wicked ways, away from the sacrifices, away from the sacrifices to Baal. And he wants them to turn back to God. So, this is what happens. Let's go ahead and read. So, Ahab sent word. Okay, hold on. I missed it a little bit here. So, with all this that Elijah had said, he made a dare. He told the king, he was like, so here's what I want you to do. There's one of me, one person following God, one prophet of God. And what I want is for you to call together all your prophets of Baal, all 450 of them. And also, go ahead and call the 400 prophets of all these other people you guys are worshiping. All these false gods, all these fake gods, made by human hands. So, going back here, so King Ahab went through, sent word throughout all Israel and assembled the prophets on Mount Carmel, where Elijah told them that this is where I want to meet. Everyone meet on Mount Carmel. So Elijah went before the people and said, how long will you waver between two opinions? If the Lord is God, follow him. But if Baal is God, follow him. So Elijah puts himself out there and he says that, okay, whoever the real God is, that's who you follow. And it says nobody said anything. So you can imagine these people of Israel going through this drought that are following Baal. They're stuck in their ways. They stay following Baal. So Elijah decides that he's going to start a competition. So this is coming from God, that he's going to start a competition. Here's what they're going to do. They're going to set up two different altars. So they're going to take an altar for the people of Baal. Then Elijah will get an altar for God. They're going to cut up the sacrifice bull. Elijah's going to let them pick the first bull, and he'll take whatever one they don't pick. Set up the sacrifice. Set up the offering to God. And in this time, they had the sacrifice, and they sacrificed it on the altar, and then they burned the offering. The thing is, Elijah said, we're not going to burn it. Whoever the real God is going to light this on fire for us. So Elijah, being beast mode, he decides that, okay, I'm going to put enough faith in God that God's going to light this on fire for me. So let's go ahead and read on. Then Elijah said to them, like I said, the only of the Lord's prophets left, but Baal has 450 prophets. Get 2 bulls for us. Let Baal's prophets choose one for themselves. And let them cut it into pieces and put it on the wood, but not set fire to it. I will prepare the other bull and put it on the wood, but not set fire to it. Then you call on the name of your God, and I will call on the name of my Lord. The God who answers by fire, he is God. Then all the people said, I'm going to change that little button at the bottom. They said bet. The bet's on. Okay. They believe in their God Baal. So like, alright, let's do this. So, Elijah, they all start in the morning time. And the prophets of Baal, they sacrifice, they cut up the offering, and they lay it on their altar. And I imagine Elijah, he doesn't start. Elijah kind of sits back. I'll let you guys get a head start. He leans back. He just kind of watches them. So they make their sacrifice and they get it on the altar. Then all of their ceremonious stuff, all of their stuff that they're doing, they start hollering. They start trying to call on Baal to light this on fire. Well, what do you guys think happens? It doesn't happen, does it? Spoiler alert, Baal's not real.
That was busy pooping.
See, he says that, but we're going to read a little bit of scripture because Elijah starts mocking them. Go ahead and read. About noontime, so they've been trying all morning. About noontime, Elijah began mocking them. You'll have to shout louder, he scoffed, for surely he's a god. Perhaps he's daydreaming. Or he's literally using the restroom, he's relieving himself. Or maybe he's wearing a trick, or he's asleep and needs to be awakened. I like Elijah. I like him. He's kind of sassy. So Elijah literally starts calling out to him. Hey, guys, where's your God at? I'm not showing up. What's going on? Elijah hadn't even started his or anything. Like the bull's still sitting behind him. And he's just like maybe the bull's laughing at him. I don't know. So after a while, they keep on and keep on and keep on. They start doing their ritualistic stuff. They start cutting themselves and screaming louder. They actually buy into what Elijah's saying. Scream louder, okay? So these people start hollering and hollering louder. Then it comes to the evening. They've been at this all day long. And Elijah, he finally kind of sitting there. Use your stool here. So he's just kind of sitting there. He's like, okay. So they're finally giving up. And he's like, I'll go ahead and do something. He kind of gets up and he calls the people of Israel. He calls all these people around who are worshiping this false god. He's like, guys, come over here. That's where we're going to pick up at. Go ahead and read. Then Elijah called the people, come over here. They all crowded around him. As he prepared the altar of the Lord that had been torn down. Guys, after all these years of worshiping idols, the altar of God wasn't even put together. That's how bad the people of Israel's gotten at this point. Worshiping so many false gods, they've completely forgot about God's altar. So he took 12 stones, one to represent each of the tribes of Israel. And he used the stones to rebuild the altar in the name of the Lord. So Elijah, he takes all these stones. And each of the tribes of Israel, he starts rebuilding the altar with these 12 tribes. The people of Israel belonged to one of these 12 tribes. And they knew which one they belonged to. It was their family heritage. So literally the people standing around, worshiping Baal, that is who he started building the altar with. And as he put those stones down, all the people standing around, they saw this and they knew the significance of it. So he says, then he dug a trench around the altar, large enough to hold about 3 gallons, and he piled wood on the altar, cut the bull into pieces, and laid the pieces on the wood. So he got it ready. He did everything that the people of Baal were doing, that they tried to sacrifice. Their God didn't answer. So Elijah gets it all put together and he gets it ready. And then, have you guys ever watched a magician? That they're like, okay, I got this trick ready. Wait, let's up the ante. That's what Elijah does. Let's keep reading. Elijah, so at the usual time for offering the evening sacrifice, a little bit before he says, let's up the ante, he starts praying. It says, the usual time for offering the evening sacrifice, Elijah the prophet walked up to the altar and prayed, O Lord, praying this in front of everyone who wants him dead. He says, O Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, prove today that you are God in Israel, and that I am your servant. Prove that I have done all this at your command. O Lord, answer me so that the people will know that you are Lord. All these people standing around him. You are God, and that you have brought them back to yourself. So he's literally praying for all these people standing around him that have worshipped false idols for so many years. You see, the people standing around him probably have never worshipped God. They've always known worshiping idols. Let's go ahead and keep reading. Okay, so Elijah, he had got it all ready, he prayed. And then he said, wait, before I call the Lord to light this on fire, go ahead and get 4 big jars. Huge jars of water. I imagine probably like massive jars they take to the temple. And he said, take 4 of those. Pour it over the offering. And the people are like, okay, we're going to make this harder on you. Okay, so they take the water and they dump it over 4 big things. He says, okay. Do it again. So they do it again. And then again. So 12 big jars of water where it's filled with this trench all around the offering. And it says, and he prayed to God. After praying to God, immediately the fire of the Lord flashed down from heaven and burned up the young bull, the wood, the stones, and the dust. That's some hot fire to burn up all that. It even lifted up all the water in the trench. And when all the people saw it, they fell face down on the ground and cried out, the Lord, He is God. Yes, the Lord is God. So, in one prayer, Elijah called back the people of Israel back to God. So at this point, like you can imagine, all these prophets of Baal, that they were freaking out. And Elijah literally orders, seize them. And they're all taken, and they're all put to death for everything that they did, all the atrocities, all the babies that they murdered. So, everything is just going down because of one prayer that Elijah made. Because Elijah went beast mode. Elijah lived beast mode. Because of one simple fact, guys. Go ahead and go to the next one. Because God's power is greater than the world's counterfeits. So, everything of God's power, everything He can do, nothing in the world can recreate that. The love of God, there is nothing in the world that could be better than that. The things that we fill our time with, whatever that is, whatever makes you happy, the world can never be greater than what comes from God, the joy that comes from God. So, the question is, what are we going to do about that? Are we going to be like a lot of the people that might have been in Israel that kind of went along with the flow of the idols, that kind of went along with what was going on? Or are we going to be like Elijah that stood up and defended God, and stood up for God? So, going back to the story, what happened to King Ahab? So, there starts to become a little bit of a celebration as people start turning back to God. And Elijah tells King Ahab, what I want you to do, go back to your palace. Tell this King Ahab, go back to your palace, go back to Jezreel, and eat, party, do whatever you want. Go have a good time, because there's rain coming. Elijah finds that there's rain coming. So, what I think is insane about this story is, as the rain starts pouring down, this massive rain just starts going across the entire kingdom of Israel. The king gets in his horse-drawn carriage, you imagine, and they're going, and it's been 3 years since it's rained. He's probably booking it home. You guys want to know what Elijah does? Elijah, he takes his robe, kind of tucks it into his belt so it's all secure and everything, and he runs. He runs to the palace and beats the king there. It's in the Bible. In Kings 18, it says king. And he got there. So, the question is, God's power is greater than the world's counterfeits. What are we going to do about that? Well, our challenge for this week is replace the counterfeit with the real deal. That the things that are in our lives that are taking the place of God, those things that are idols, replace those idols. Replace the counterfeit with the real deal. I'm going to pray. We're going to head to small groups. Hey God, I just want to thank you that we have access to the real deal. I just want to thank you that you sent your son Jesus to die for us so we could actually have that power from you. We could have the eternal life with you. God, I want to thank you for the real deal. I want to thank you for that power. I want to thank you for everyone in this room that we think about this whole message and we start really thinking in our minds, what are we going to do about it? Because that's the true question of the Bible. You read the Bible and the question is, what are you going to do about it? God, I pray that we talk about that in small groups and you bless this time together. Thank you. Amen.